I believe in forgiveness now, but that wasn't always true. For a long time, I let my anger be my reason to keep moving. It was what got me out of bed, what made me feel strong, untouchable, clear, and it felt good, like power. I carried it like a sword, and I thought it was keeping me alive. I think a lot of people who've been hurt learn to survive that way. You stop trusting softness, you stop believing peace is real, so you build walls out of fire and tell yourself that if you burn everything that could hurt you, you'll be safe. Zuko from Avatar The Last Airbender was the first character I ever saw who really mirrored that in me. The anger, the confusion, the way he believed hate would give him purpose, and just like him, I built my entire identity around that pain that others caused me. But here's the thing they never tell you. When you finally let go of that anger, when you release the hate that's been fueling you, you don't feel free right away. You feel lost. That happened to me when I stopped feeding the fire. I didn't know who I was anymore, and for a while I thought maybe I needed that anger to survive, because without it I felt directionless, like I had no fuel, no voice, no backbone. It took me a long time to realize that purpose doesn't have to be powered by pain, that I could rebuild my drive on something softer, something truer. But I had to go all the way back to where the fire started, to where the wound began, and for me, that wound had a name. He was a friend from childhood, but he was more than that. He was woven into my fabric of my entire early identity. We were close, the kind of close that should have meant safety, laughter, and trust. But what I remember most isn't trust, it's betrayal, lies, manipulation, humiliation. Moments that shattered me in slow, sharp pieces over time. He hurt me in ways that were hard to explain back then, because when you're young and someone tears at you emotionally, it doesn't leave bruises anyone can see, but it leaves you changed. And that pain grew roots in me. I refused to forgive him. I clung to my anger like it was armor. When people told me just let it go, I got furious because they didn't know what it felt like to be betrayed so deeply, to be lied about, exposed, hurt, and then blamed for reacting. I had full-blown fights about it. Friends who didn't understand why I couldn't just move on. Even a girlfriend at the time, middle school, but still, who broke up with me because she thought I was too consumed by it. And maybe I was. But at the time, that hate was the only thing that felt honest. Like at least I knew where I stood. At least the anger made sense. Until one day, I realized something that gutted me. If I spent my life hating him, I've still given him my life. I've still written his name into every page, memory, and every decision. And that's when I started to let it go. Not all at once, not because he apologized. He didn't. Not because he changed. He hasn't. But because I was tired of being chained to the past. I let go for myself, because the more I fed that hate, the more it fed on me, and I couldn't keep living like that. But here's the truth. I didn't forgive him. Not then. What I did was detach. I stopped caring. I stopped giving him rent-free space in my mind. But that wasn't forgiveness. That was survival. True forgiveness came later, and it didn't start with him. It started with me. Because here's the part I didn't want to face for a long time. I hadn't forgiven myself either. And maybe that was the harder thing to admit. Because I've done things I'm not proud of. I've hurt people who didn't deserve it. I've ghosted people out of fear. I've lied to keep things easy. And I've been selfish, careless, and avoidant. And when I looked at those things with honesty, I saw something terrifying. I was becoming the kind of person I used to hate. Not all the way, not fully, but enough that I started asking myself, am I really better? And the answer was no, not yet. So I had a choice. Spend the rest of my life loathing myself, or start the long, messy work of learning how to forgive myself. And how could I do that? How could I possibly believe I was worthy of grace if I couldn't extend it to others? That's when I understood something that changed everything. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about what kind of world you want to live in. And I didn't want to live in a world where forgiveness wasn't possible. Because if no one can be forgiven, then I'm just as damned as the people who hurt me. So I started practicing. Not grand gestures, not declarations, but quiet release. Forgiving people who never said sorry. Forgiving people who didn't even realize they'd hurt me. Forgiving people who didn't change because I wanted to change. And eventually, I turned that same mercy inward. Slowly. Uneasily, but I did. I began to say, I'm not proud of what I did, but I know why I did it, and I won't do it again. That's not forgetting, that's not excusing, that is forgiveness. And from that forgiveness, I found something I'd lost long ago. Purpose that wasn't born from rage. Direction that didn't burn me out. Strength that came from truth, not armor. That's what forgiveness gave me. Not freedom from consequence, but freedom from the cage I built around my own heart.